Okay, episode 11. We're back building the box. A lot has gone on in the last week. I'm going to fill you guys in. I feel like I say that every time, but we're really getting into the pre Christmas flow. So today I have handled new box delivery. So we just placed one there. We kind of forgot about it, which is my bad. I passed on operations responsibilities for procurement now to Connor, but I forgot to mention to him about boxes and who the man is to order boxes. So then that kind of got missed. Obviously, we were away in Turkey and we've been busy, so it got missed a bit. Anyway, I was texting the box supplier to Axel today and he got it handled. So they should ship the week before Black Friday, thank God. On our first Christmas, we undercooked the amount of boxes we needed and we didn't order them in time. So essentially, what happened was, and this is the stupidest story ever, we ordered from a new supplier because our current supplier wouldn't ship them until after Christmas. And then when I signed off the form, sent it away, like I just wanted the same boxes we currently already had in stock. Instead of it being 2.5 centimeters tall, they were 25 centimeters tall. And so when they arrived with us, they were like shoebox size. It was like 10,000 of them, I think. And we had to sit there and cut them, each one of them, down to 2.5 centimeters tall because anyone who ships stuff will know this, but sending a 25 centimeters tall box cost about £6. Sending a 2.5 centimeters tall box cost about £2. So when you've got £4 saving and you got 10,000 boxes, you're saving yourself £40,000 by just cutting them. But it was a lot of manual labor. Like we had probably 10 guys just cutting boxes, which was stupid when you look back at it, and all because the new supplier, when they filled out the form, made a typo, and then I didn't see it when I signed it off. But yeah, uh, it was giving me a flashback today when Axel texted me, "Do you need more boxes?" And I was like, "Shit, maybe we won't get them in time, but thank God he's coming through for us." Um, I also spent the day doing fucking DIY. So the claw machine, we were ready to ship it to Sheffield last week, fully stocked, and the payment settings were taking a while to get set up. And then when we finally set them up, the machine starts like giving this error code. So we're speaking with the suppliers, the manufacturers in China, and they wanted me to basically hotwire it. Like we tried different things and it wasn't working, so they asked me to hotwire it. So then I had to strip the cables on like the motherboard and like wrap them together. I accidentally cut one of the cables, so then I had to reattach it. It was a whole like palaver. Uh, but we got it done. And then when we like hotwired it and restarted it, nothing changed. And so I went back and I played with one of the settings they had made me change earlier in the day. And when I changed it back to what it was originally, it then was starting to work. So we're nearly there with it. Currently, the one problem is when we pay £2, instead of getting one play, it gets four plays. So I need them to come back to me on how to change that. But because they're on China time, it's like midnight right now, so they're not working. It's probably like in the middle of the actual night, probably like 2 a.m. actually, now that I think about it, because this was recorded at 5:30. So yeah, I'm hoping to get that fixed, and then we're finally laughing. Hopefully the money rolling through. It's annoying me though because like I was texting Yardball Scott today about it, and he was saying they've had 400 people coming through the venue every day, and obviously that's such a missed opportunity to make extra money, but it happens. One of the things on the weekend, so I was hungover on the Sunday. I was just chilling. A thing I like to do is buy the newspaper. So I buy the newspaper every Sunday, Sunday Times, and I read the business section. I used to read the sport when I was a kid, but over time, sport just came, especially when you're a Liverpool supporter at the minute, you don't want to read the sport, but it just became less interesting. So now I've been reading the business for like probably since I was like 15, 16. Super interesting because it gives a lot of insight into like the economy and like how the other businesses are doing. And in it, like one of the topics was about annual sick leave and how since basically 2022, the average annual sick leave was 4.4, I think, and now it's like 9.4. So that means people are being sick 5 days more on average per year, or taking sick leave. Like I know people who just take sick leave when they're not sick. They're like hungover per se. But like that's a crazy fact to me, and they attributed that to like the rise of mental health. I would say it's also because people are working from home, so like it's an easy cop out to just be like, I'm sick today, and then like you're not as missed as much when you're like working from home when you're sick, because everyone's like you're not used to being in the office. But yeah, they were saying it's because of like overbearing bosses. But if anything, I think like work life culture has got like a lot better in the UK, especially like it's way more relaxed than probably it was like 20 or 30 years ago. I suspect. But that's a crazy stat to me, and it's a reason why the UK kind of sucks at the minute, and why our productivity is like it's fallen by 0.3%. It's because people aren't working anymore. Like 10 days sick a year is crazy. Also, Connor was off, so I was handling a bit of that hiring for the Christmas market, which is 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, by the way, which is crazy to think about. But I rang maybe, so like we have 40 people apply for the job. We're hiring two roles. 40 people apply. I whittled it down to maybe, I think it was 18 people. I like said were like reasonable fits. And then I rang them all just to see, like, do a quick interview with them. Only, I think it was five people answered out of the 18. And then I sent text messages to everyone who didn't answer. So what was that? The other 13 that didn't answer. And only one of them replied with like a time that suited to ring back. So, I mean, they're talking about like there not being enough jobs out there, but I don't think people want to work at the minute. That's what I'm getting. And out of the five people I interviewed, two were good, two were crap, and one was all right. So we got the two people coming in for interviews. Ryland, who worked for us last year, he reached out, and so we'll probably take him back on. If you're watching this, Ryland, hopefully you're joining us. And we have also a few other bits. Oh yeah, I was hiring for the growth assistant. I've been talking about this for ages, but we're still looking. I think we're getting closer and warmer, but it's just one of those things at time. And when you're hiring, you always just know when it's right. And I haven't got that feeling just yet, but maybe we will soon. I think probably follow up interviews are to come, like in person ones, and some people are closing out their their challenges. I was reading this week this book for our senior leadership book club, and I had a lot of catching up to do because it was out for 3 weeks. But it's Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. It was recommended to me by Athena, as they said, like a good way. Athena's like the agency, by the way, that sets you up with like an online VA, as a good way to like be more productive and delegate. And so I thought I'd read it with the head of our creative and head of our operations, because they now manage teams, and I've started pushing more stuff onto them, and so they should push more stuff onto their team. And I didn't want them to become overburdened, because it happened to me, like it's been me for the last 3 years, it's been overburdened with stuff, and I didn't want to, when I'm pushing stuff onto them to become overburdened. So that's why I basically got this delegating book, because I wanted them to like delegate too. And so there's a lot of interesting concepts inside of it, but my favorite chapter, I think, has to be, no, I'm not finished it, but I think it's like chapter 13 or 14, and it's basically called Dream Big. And to some degree, every entrepreneur does this. You want like a better life, and you want to do cool things with like a product or a service, but sometimes we like lose track with it. And the thing in the book says you need to be like really specific with it. So like I know I want to sell this business big, and I know that I want to build it big, but I have like a 1 year plan, a 2 year plan, but I didn't really have much more. And so this book basically says you need to write out your own plan, and you need to write out the business's plan. So that's what I've done. I've wrote out like a 5 year plan, and I think within 5 years we'll get to an exit, and if not, we'll just keep building. And then I've wrote out what I want for myself in 5, 10 years. And I had it kind of in my head, like what I see myself in my personal life living and who with. And I seen myself what businesses I want to build and own. But when it's in your head and it's not written out, then I think it's like a dangerous thing. So I've written it out and I like gave myself time this week to dream. And the thing when you've actually dreamed and you've written it out, and I think you do need to revisit this. It probably needs to be like a quarterly thing, to be honest, to revisit this. But as it lets you, it alters your chain, your like your mind frame. It alters your mind frame when you make decisions. So when you think of something, you're thinking, is this going to work for me in 5, 10 years? And like the easiest one today is the lads were talking about the operations, about adding another layer on for the for our fulfillment area. And I just went to them, you know, we're going to be doing double the amount of orders next year and quadruple the amount of orders in 2 years' time. So do we keep the current storage solution or do we look at new storage solutions? And just with that change of mind frame, then they were like, yeah, you're right. And so then the answers have changed, which is good. So I'm quite excited by I'm going to present the vision for everyone in the company knows the vision for the next 2 years, but I'm going to present the 5 year vision once we get out of this busy Q4 period. I'm going to sit down. There's a few unanswered questions in it about like physical retail, about new products, about markets, about potentially another expansion, which I haven't really touched on here, but maybe in time I will. But yeah, I think really it's a key part of any entrepreneur is especially with staff you need to present your vision and you need to get your staff fully bought into your vision, but sometimes we lose our track with it. And in this book he talks about how he's actually got his staff to build a brochure of the company in 5 years time. Now I don't know if I'm going to do that, but like every one of his staff members has a brochure of what the company looks like, and for him I think he actually wrote it for what the company looks like in 30 years time. So I thought it's pretty cool. And when people are bought into like building something bigger, they work harder, they're more invested, they're more happy. So I know I'm more happy thinking about it. And then final thing I want to wrap up about is I shared with my uh friends and anyone who's like shared it within the business too. Basically this great video by Jordan Menard who talks about like his version of marketing and CAC payback. And it was for me it is such a like consequential video. Like I think it is so impressive. And I think it alters the way you believe marketing should be done. And I shared this with like tons of people. Maybe like two or three have watched it max. Like I probably shared it with 10. People internally have watched it, but that's because I've just pressured them into it. But like my mates, one of them has watched it. My mom watched it as well, but that was just because I like ranted and raved about it all weekend. So I think some people don't want to learn. Like I told them this is a really good video, you need to watch it. But then the second thing is, if you actually watch this video, I think you can look it up. It's on the YouTube. Uh, it's him speaking at is it Round Commerce or something like that. It's one of those e-commerce events. It completely pivots the way you think because he says growth to the way you have to scale online marketing these days is you need to be able to tolerate essentially a really really low ROAS. And if you can tolerate a really low ROAS like AG1 are or like Everyday Dose or like Rise are able to, then you win. And so you need to work backwards. You need to not think, how can I get my ROAS really high? You need to accept that your ROAS is really low and think, how can you get your lifetime value really high? So yeah, it was a really good video, and I'm disappointed more people haven't watched it. But I think that's what separates the brilliant and the good, maybe. Um. Anyway, thanks again. If anyone needs the video, send me an email. I've had quite a good few people reach out this week, uh, which I always love, and I'm trying to reply back as much as possible. And I think I've provided like 3 bits of advice this past week, which is really it makes me happy to provide to give back what my insights are, and they could be awfully wrong. Don't get me wrong, but it's a cool thing to do. Um, so yeah, if anyone wants me, you can get me on LinkedIn. You can get my email. I'm pretty sure people know it anyway. It's Rory at mysteryshirtinthebox.info. You can get me on Instagram. But yeah, I'll be back next week. I'm away to Liverpool this Halloween weekend, so this is filmed on the Wednesday, goes out on the Sunday. I will be recovering from like a 3 day bender, but it's my last drinking session before the ultimate lock in of Q4 when there's no drink, there's just work. But yeah, appreciate all the support, and I'll see you next week.